Well, Lee, Buck Rogers and Reading in town, landing at St James's. Are you hopeful?
Well, I think you always want to get your home campaign off to a good start, and as much as we don't want to be in this division, the reality is we are in this division, and we've got to start and start positively. I mean, I'm quite sure that there'll be a massive crowd at this one. I mean, with the season ticket holders doing it, I'm thinking probably the biggest crowd of the day.
I hope so.
In that division, I think the fans were magnificent at West Brom, and I don't see any reason why they won't continue to back. Yes, they made the protests pretty obvious at West Brom, but in terms of backing the team, I think they were second to none. They were absolutely really got behind the players, especially the younger players who need that bit of encouragement. And I think Reading's a game where they'll do the same. I mean, obviously last time we played Reading, it was a Premier League game under Kevin Keegan, and so much seems to have happened since then.
Feels like a lifetime ago, but you'd have to say, looking at things, I mean, I know Steve Cottle's gone, it's a new era there. You'd think that they're one of the teams that if Newcastle are going to put a marker down in this division, they're the team to do it against, or certainly one of the teams to do it against.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, we've already taken a point off West Brom, who haven't had the controversy, as much controversy going on as Newcastle. As you say, if they can make a statement and beat Reading, and then that's it's still a long way to go. It'd still be 44 games to go, but you just want to pick up as many points as you can, because if it does all go belly up, then Newcastle could end up being off scrapping for survival this season as well. And you just want to get as many points on the board as quickly as possible, because we talked about the magic 40 point in the Premier League last season.
Yeah, I mean, it's 10 points more in this league at least.
It's a magic 50 points. So, and I'm just to make reference to something there that I flagged up in the match report on Monday. Basically, I remember Scunthorpe United 2 seasons ago were in the top 10 in the start of November, and they still got relegated. So starting well in this division doesn't mean a lot, but by the same token, you still want to get as many points on the board as possible. I
think there's something vitally important about them doing something at home as well. First up, the back end of last season, formerly the Fortress St James's, it was basically an open season for any visiting team. Maybe other than Middlesbrough. To actually win and win well would give the fans a huge boost, and it would keep those fans that have kept the faith despite everything this summer. It would keep them really looking ahead rather than looking back in anger.
I mean, the other thing is, if they do start winning games, I mean, then obviously it'll be a case of crisis. What crisis from the current regime? And I think that's a big worry, because if, for argument's sake, they do hand Chris Hughton the job, then that for me is I've got to be worried about that, because I don't think that's the answer long term, because I still see him as a coach. I'm not 100% sure he's got the full respect of every single member of that dressing room, which has been proved by recent events.
Yeah, probably through no fault of his own. That's just unfortunately the way of the world in football these days.
Yeah.
Unless you're a really big name, then there is always going to be that sort of undercurrent of maybe what's he done, and who's he to be ordering me about. And as you say, without naming names, we've already done that earlier in the week.
Yeah.
There's at least one person that seems to fall into that category. As you say, I know what you're saying about the way this regime seems to do things is, basically look at they seem to handle crisis management as, we'll see how we go. If we do okay, then we might just get away with it. And the fear is, as you say, that if things go well in the next couple of weeks, they might just say, well, Chris is doing a good job, Colin's doing a good job, let's go with it, which would be a horrendous prospect, not because there's anything wrong with those two guys, but as you say, Newcastle really need a talisman. They need someone that the players and the fans can rally around, and we all know who one of those is. It may be that depending on the ownership issue, they might need to find a different one. I have to say personally, I'm not hugely keen on the idea of David O'Leary, Gordon Strachan, Alan Kirbishley. These names have been mentioned. Obviously, I think that long term, one of those would be better than just keeping the standing or a coach like Hughton around. But I don't know if there's any name that grabs you other than the obvious, which is Alan Shearer.
Well, unfortunately, there isn't another name that grabs me, because I'm very pro Alan Shearer, like most Newcastle fans are. I don't see anyone else who's going to actually get a hold of the dressing room and bring them together. I think, David O'Leary, he's been out of work for quite a while now. It would be a big challenge for him to come in now and turn it around. Alan Kirbishley, proven track record at Charlton, as you know, and who was the other one you mentioned again?
Strachan. Yeah, whether he won a job under the circumstances to get it at Newcastle is is debatable because he's done a decent job wherever he's been. Let's face it. So I mean, he's plenty of the pond off the field as ever. But fingers crossed we get a result on it on Saturday.